Welcome into the channel, Tennessee Podcast. It is December the 15th, 2024. And in less than a week, we will know who is moving on between Tennessee and Ohio State in the college football playoff. We will get more into that. During this podcast, the Vols hit a buzzer beater in Champaign, Illinois to shatter every Illinois fan's hearts on Saturday nights. We got a special guest in the house, Chris McNeil from the Reflog Show, to discuss the Ohio State realm of the portion of the show against Tennessee versus Ohio State. Well, my friends, how we doing? How we feeling? Chris, what's going on, man? We gotta talk about Ohio State here because we want to be informed about what Tennessee is about to get themselves into. How's it going, my friend?
Rainey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate this. It's nice to be on an SEC network here. And you starting off the show by talking a little Big Ten SEC basketball, and then we got the big matchup next Saturday and the college football playoff. And, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to, I know there's been so much talk over the years about the SEC versus the Big Ten, the speed of the SEC, the Alabamas of the world, all of those teams that have had dominance for such a run, and the Big Ten here trying to hold its own. And now with the way that everything has come and kind of evolved over the NIL landscape and realignment, you see that it's really the North and the South. And you see the two football greats in, the Ohio States of the world, the Tennessees of the world historically, getting a chance to go on the national stage here to play it out once again. I love this. I love the SEC versus Big Ten. I love that feel.
Yeah, and you get two big house type names. You get two blue bloods, as most would call, in Tennessee and Ohio State. But what is your first thought about Tennessee? Because we know I haven't watched a whole lot of Ohio State. I haven't seen a whole lot of Ohio State. What I've seen from Ohio State, I think Tennessee could really challenge them. And so I kind of want to get your take about what people from the North, the Big Ten, know about Tennessee. And is this because I see a lot of things on Twitter of like, oh, it's Tennessee, they suck. And Tennessee, I don't think Tennessee really sucks. So I'm just trying to get a take on what you guys believe up there.
You guys are very good defensively, first of all, which is also a strength for Ohio State. We've got the Jim Knowles defense up there. And since he's come on, he's consistently kind of improved the defense. That's been one of the things under Ryan Day we have seen improvement. And that was on the defensive side of the ball. And they've really done a nice job pretty consistently this year. And I know Tennessee's also got a good defense. The other thing you guys could do is rush the ball, and that's something that we're very concerned about up there, because if you can rush the ball, especially, we started to talk about how, you get into the playoff and you're going to get in the weather up here, right? SEC teams coming north, you're going to be in the cold temperatures of Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be in the 20s next Saturday, most likely. Well, that doesn't exactly play into Ohio State's side of the ledger because you guys can run the ball. You guys can kind of hold your own and eat clock that way and play some defense. So that's not necessarily the way that Ohio State is constructed. So even though we're from the North and, are used to the elements, supposedly, even though we don't really play in the elements for most of the year, we're not a team that's really built to play in the elements as much as you guys may be. So that would be kind of an interesting aspect of this whole thing. And one of those narratives that make it blown up, and we'll see on Saturday.
Chris, do you think that's a false narrative, though? I mean, Knoxville's located in the mountains. It's not like it's
right.
It's not like it's on the.
You guys get snow, and everybody knows you get snow. Yeah. Let me tell you,
we get a half inch, and we got to go get our milk and bread.
And you shut down the whole state. Here's something. Now, I'm sure none of your listeners really know who I am, but nonetheless, I was actually born in Tennessee. Little known fact, I was born 1979. I lived in Jackson, Tennessee is where I was born.
That's where I live. I live in Jackson. Yeah.
My dad worked for Owens Corning. Okay.
Yes.
He got moved around and down there they've got a plant and he was in charge there. And now we moved out when I was pretty young. and we moved from there to Toledo, Ohio. But yeah, Jackson, Tennessee was where I was born. So I am familiar. And my dad actually went to Memphis to get his MBA back in the day. So I have seen snow with my own 2 eyes in Tennessee. It wasn't much, and I think it shut down the state for about a month. But I have seen it. I do know it snows. Well, I do know you guys get a little bit of the elements down there. So I apologize if I offended anybody down there in volunteer country.
No, it's funny because me and Austin were talking the other day, and we were going through Ohio State's recruiting class. And we tweeted this out, and people are like, "You SEC, the Tennessee, they don't understand the cold." Dude, half your recruiting class is from Georgia, Florida, Texas,
California.
Like it's not
right.
Like it's not. They're not born and bred in Ohio, and that's the funniest thing. Like you talk about the narrative, like you hope it doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. But yeah. I just think it's so funny how people just think these kids were just only recruited from the North. So,
well, and you see the same thing, and not to switch gears here, but you see the same thing in the NFL. We're talking in Cleveland right now about our open dome or our open air stadium, and we say we got to keep it open air up there because we're in the elements, and that really gives us an advantage in the playoffs. Well, first of all, us in the playoffs, come on, that's a joke right now. Second of all, we're getting guys that we draft that come out from all over the country, and it's not exactly like they're used to playing in the elements. So, and you see the same thing at Ohio State. Ohio State, make no bones about it, especially now, they're a professional organization, just like Tennessee is, just like a lot of the SEC teams are. These are professional organizations now. They are recruiting. They are getting guys from all across the nation. That hasn't changed in years, and you see it now as much as ever. And so you say they're a cold weather team just because they're located up there. Well, yeah, but you got to look at where they're getting these kids from.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you all this, though. Our quarterback is from Southern California. Probably never, ever played anything like that. I think last week against Vandy or a few weeks ago against Vandy was probably the coldest game he ever played in. And I know Will Howard was at Kansas State last year, and I believe I remember him playing in a game where it was a damn near blizzard. So he might be a little more used to that. I would give
and he's from
that's one edge.
Pennsylvania, so he's at least played in the elements, probably in high school. But it does get played up, I think, a lot more than what the reality is.
Chris,
no, go ahead.
Austin mentioned Will Howard. I haven't watched a lot of Ohio State football this year, but what are your thoughts on him? Because, like, from the national media, when I hear about Ohio State, that seems like the weak link in y'all's team. So could you kind of talk to us a little bit about your quarterback?
Yeah, so a lot of the ire right now amongst Buckeye fans is more at Chip Kelly, which is our offensive coordinator, and Ryan Day for the play calling. But some of it will fall on Will Howard as well. And the reason being is that you've seen our wide receiver class. Right. Mm-hmm. Last year we had Marvin Harrison. We really couldn't get it done with him. We had Jeremiah Smith, fantastic freshman this year. And it's not popping. The offense is not popping the way it should. Now, last year we said, okay, Kyle McCord's the issue. Let's ship him out of town. So he goes to Syracuse, kind of had ups and downs there, had a few really good games though. But we moved on from him. We bring in Will Howard. Will Howard's been okay. But it seems like for whatever reason within the Chip Kelly offense, it just hasn't popped the way everybody is expected, because everybody believes that this team has got enough talent at the wide receiver position. We should just be moving the ball up and down the field. No problems. And that hasn't happened with the consistency we wanted, and didn't happen at all versus Michigan. In the second half of that game, I think Jeremiah Smith was targeted like twice and got 3 yards. I think he had 1 reception in the second half, and everybody's going, what are we even doing offensively? You know, you get this guru in here, this genius in Chip Kelly, and we think, okay, all our problems are solved. Last year's problems were all blamed on Kyle McCord. You ship him out of town. Okay, we've got this thing fixed. And we haven't seen it. When you're going and laying a goose egg, against Michigan, and you're Ohio State, that's not good. That's not good at all. So that's where you're really at a crossroads right now as an Ohio State fandom and really as a university going forward, because there's 3 goals at Ohio State. The first one is to beat your rival, to beat Michigan. Second one is to win the Big Ten. We're 0-2 right now. The third one is still possible because of the new system that we've got. We still could win the national championship, but right now you're 0-2. And that offense, and whether it's Will Howard, whether it's on Chip Kelly, whether it's on Ryan Day, that offense has not been enough to get it done. And now it's got to show up in the playoffs.
Yeah. I saw this tweet. It was from some Ohio State Twitter account. I can't remember who it was from, but it had CJ Stroud standing next to all the wide receivers from that year you're talking about with Marvin Harris.
Nothing out of it.
And they're like, this right here won nothing. And then it just goes on to trash Ryan Day. And I know early before the podcast we were talking about we're going to get to the Ryan Day thing, but it's Ryan Day it's Ohio State. So you're going to get the talent. You're going to get the recruits. You're going to get everything. Right. But from a fan standpoint, you can look at Ryan Day, and I've said it for years. I'm like, he's not a good coach. To me, I think he's not a great coach. He's got the talent, like you said, to win a national title. Can he? Yeah, because of his talent. But his coaching ability, the eye test tells me that he's just not good. He's not aware of things.
A lot of people in Columbus, including myself, would agree with you too. And it changes the narrative for me against Michigan, and it always will. And maybe I'm old school. There's a lot of people saying, well, after this last loss, well, maybe we really shouldn't look at that Michigan game. Now the playoffs are really the big thing that you're going after. That's the prize. Forget about this rivalry, this silly rivalry with Michigan, which to me is complete sacrilege. The guys lost the last 4. Right. And we used to have a guy in Columbus by the name of John Cooper. And John Cooper came in from Arizona, highly heralded, won all the time here in Columbus, but couldn't get it done against Michigan. And he was ultimately clipped for that reason. And, eventually we get to guys like the Tressels, right? Jim Tressel, who famously comes in, immediately goes to the first basketball game as he's introduced as the new head coach and says that he's going to go up there in 300 and some odd days and beat Michigan. And sure enough, he does it and has a great record against them. And then you go into the Urban Meyers, you had Luke Fickell for a year, but then into the Urban Meyer years, and you see his great success against Michigan. And then you see Ryan Day. And as Ohio State, we are built for football, right? We've got $20 million in NIL. And we live, breathe, sleep football here. There's absolutely no reason why you don't have the best talent in the nation. And by the way, we did. And I think we do. And so where's the weak link in this whole thing? And I believe it comes down to coaching. And we've allowed him to change out his assistant coaches, bring in the Jim Knowles of the world, who's been successful, the Chip Kelly, who has not been successful, but he's handpicking these guys, and we're still not seeing the results. So I think all of that criticism is well warranted, and I think it needs to be levied against him. You're being paid to be the Ohio State head coach and beat Michigan and ultimately do those 3 things I talked about earlier. And as the highest paid state employee in Ohio, you're going to get a whole lot of ire if you're not getting it done. And from a strategic standpoint, you don't see the creativity out of them. And he really, against Michigan, it shows, because it seems like for whatever reason he seizes up. You don't see us really kind of open the playbook, do anything that you think might catch Michigan or the other team by surprise. It's kind of the same old, and that works when you're playing the dregs of the Big Ten, right? When we're only kind of tested 3 times a year, you had Penn State this year, you had Oregon this year. Of course, Michigan ended up being more of a test than what I thought it was going to be. You had Indiana this year, but that's about it. And then you play really nothing. And for him not to have anything in the playbook where you go, wow, I didn't realize they were working on that. Boy, that's pretty good right there. Or something where he schemes and really is able to make adjustments that you can look at, then you say, what are we really doing from a coaching standpoint?
Yeah, it's like he coached down to Michigan. I didn't get why he wanted to run with that wide receiver.
So bland.
It's weird.
Jeremiah Smith right there. Let's use him. We had Marvin Harrison last year. Let's use him.
Do you think any of that game plan against Michigan was based on the fact that when losing the last 3 years to Michigan, the narrative was kind of, that Michigan's tougher than Ohio State. Michigan could run it down our throats, and that they played an old school style of ball. And I think there's something in Ryan Day that wanted to win that kind of way to prove a point, and it cost him the game by not, utilizing your wide receivers.
Boy, I'll tell you, the year before here, when they played Notre Dame, and if you remember when Ryan Day beat Notre Dame, and he asked where Lou Holtz is at right now, he wanted to show how tough he was, right? So that was top of mind for him. And it was the same thing with Notre Dame because Lou Holtz called us soft, right? Same thing there. Same thing with Michigan. He was hearing the same stuff. And that had to be in his mind there at the back. He'll never admit to that. But I certainly think there was a lot to it that he said, hey, we're going to line up with these guys, go toe to toe, and we're going to blow them out. And oh, by the way, that should kind of work because we got more talent than they do. But ultimately, if it's not, and they're making adjustments, you've got to be able to adjust. And I just don't understand why you don't utilize those guys on the outside when it's not working, when you're running it right behind this offensive line, which has been a weak spot for us. And oh, by the way, Seth McLaughlin, our center, who's All-American, who's been great, he was out. So you already know you got a weak spot there in the middle of the line. So it behooves us in that case, I think, to get the ball out quick, get it to the receivers, move the ball downfield. But I don't know. I think there is some merit to your assertion there that he was thinking about, we're going to out tough this team.
That's my kind of thing about it with him. His biggest fault as a head coach in my head is just that he's willing to make mistakes just because he wants to, or just because he's like so dead set on what he thinks needs to happen. Like he's not making decisions based on what he has and the best to make of the situation. He's thin skinned and he's hard headed. And those are the two things that gets coaches fired, in my opinion.
I wish I had a coach
had
a good response
kind of remind me of him,
where I could say, no. This guy, I completely disagree with you. But a lot of what you're saying is a lot of what you're hearing around here in Columbus right now. And what's funny is you go from a guy like Urban Meyer, right? Urban Meyer, inside that building, inside the Woody Hayes, there were a lot of people who didn't like Urban Meyer very much because he is a football guy. That is all he does. He famously doesn't exactly know all the names of everybody on his team. He knows them kind of as units, and this person needs to do this person needs to do this, and we need to win this football game. And he only cares about winning football games, right? You bring in Ryan Day, you start to hear some of these more nice things coming out of the Woody Hayes of how he's really engendered himself with the staff and really it seems to be a softer, but at the same time, the team has come together more. And you start to hear stories about Urban Meyer was really kind of tearing apart the inside of this team and things like that. And it's funny because that plays really well when you're winning, but all of a sudden you lose to your rival 4 times. All of a sudden he's soft. We need to bring back in an Urban Meyer. Who cares what the staff? Who cares what anybody thinks? I don't care if he's a complete a-hole as a quarterback or as a head coach. We got to win ball games right now. And so guys like Urban Meyer all of a sudden are like right back and going, okay, those are the guys we want.
We as Tennessee fans can relate to that more than any other fan base in the country, because we had the Butch Joneses, these stupid catchphrases, this dumbass, just stupid shit coming out of his mouth that makes no sense. He talks about energy vampires and some weird stuff all the time. And then we get a coach.
I heard about some of this. Yeah,
it is.
Okay,
There is a compilation on our channel page of all these catchphrases from all of our previous coaches before Josh Heupel. But it's what you just said about Urban Meyer. He didn't give a damn about anything else but winning. Yeah. And I've preached that for so long. If you have to start a sentence off with, "Oh, he's a good guy," just stop there, because he's not going to win anything. Just stop right there. And so we have a coach at Tennessee, Tony Vitello, our baseball coach. He doesn't give a damn if he hurts your feelings. He doesn't have a crap if he hurts your feelings. He wants to gut you from the inside out and beat you down. And that's exactly why he won a national title this season. And I believe, in my opinion, coaches like that win. Nick Saban, he doesn't care about that. He wants to gut you. He wants to beat you. Coaches who want to run the score up and kill you, they are the ones that throw sportsmanship right out the window. I don't care. I'm not paid to make you happy. I'm not paid to be have sportsmanship. I'm not paid for that. I'm paid to win games, and I love coaches like that. And that's what you said about Urban Meyer.
What's interesting about
Paid
that,
to do that.
Too, when you say running up the score, if you remember the week before the Michigan game, we played Indiana. At the end of that ball game, Trevion Henderson, he had a wide open run, and he actually knelt down. He slid down right before the goal line. Well, then Ryan Day had us line up, and we scored there. And that came off as very fake and very pushed in that case. It's like, that's not who he is. Like, if that's Urban Meyer, everybody goes, okay, that's Urban Meyer. First of all, Trevion, he isn't going down because he knows he's under Urban Meyer, right? But it just came off as fake. So I think what you're saying is very true. But I think that if you're not that type of person, you can't like become that. You can't like fake your way into being that guy, right? And I think Ryan Day just isn't that guy. He tried to be, and he tries to put on that facade. It's not really there.
So, Chris, hold on. So you're saying like he told that player to take that knee so he could make it look like he wanted to score?
No. Trevion did that on his own. And then he said, no, we're going to score here. So he sent back out to score afterwards. Yeah, I think Trevion, he's one of those guys. He was the sportsmanship guy, right? He was okay. This game's over. I'm not going to look at personal stats. I'm going to go ahead and just slide here and not score the touchdown. And then, Ryan Day said, no. We are going to step on their throats right now. And so he had them score. And I think it came off as kind of fake.
I think that's kind of, though, more of what the playoff committee has kind of done to us now. We need style points. That's what they're, and they're not watching the fourth quarters of these games. They're just going to look at the score. And James Franklin went on a huge rant when he was questioned about passing in the fourth quarter, and it was a lot. Well, this is the goal we have, because we don't just have to win. We got to win by a lot because we're trying to make ourselves look good for the committee. It's an odd place for college football because in the NFL this is unheard of. Because in the NFL all you got to do is just win the game, and that's good. That's going to improve your resume. But or the standings, because that's all it's based on. But in college football, we got to make a resume and have an eye test and have pretty looking scores. We had the same thing happen with we were playing Missouri, I think 2 years ago, and we were running up the score. To be honest, we were passing it down the field, and I part of this fan base was like, well, that's just Josh Heupel. He wanted to blow them out and because it's fun. I think that's a little bit of we kind of respect each other here, and we would just end this game normally, but we have to run this up now because we're trying to make ourselves look good. We want this to look good on the scoreboard, and this is kind of where we're at in college football. It's a weird little place, but
less so now. I would argue, and I guess it's always going to be there, but it's like we're almost slotted. Like if you do certain things, you're going to be in this spot. I mean, if you're Ohio State, if you win all your games, you're going to be the number 1 seed overall, probably, unless an SEC team kind of slides in there. If you lose one game, you're kind of going to be here. And if you lose 2 games, you're probably going to be, then you're getting to the style points, right? At that point, we had only lost to Oregon. So if we would have just beaten Indiana, no problem, beaten Michigan, and then won the Big Ten, no big deal. It really didn't come down to style points in this case. It was really Ryan Day trying to make some sort of a statement that it just wasn't Ryan Day. But you're right. I mean, style points are something that a lot of these coaches are still looking at.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to talk about the Ohio State fan base a little bit, because I feel like this is just a weird place. Because, okay, you're in the playoff.
Now, wait a second. Tennessee fan base is also a weird place. I happen to know that.
We're just psychos.
They're going to invade Ohio.
He's basing that off of you, Austin.
Yeah. Oh, well, fair enough. We're an odd folk, okay? We don't have a
great facial hair, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. When you spend 15 years in the dumpster of college football, you go a little crazy. Let me just tell you, Ohio State fans don't really know about that necessarily.
You had T. Higgins.
Were we talking about me and DR's beards or Austin's 3 mustaches on his face? Which one are we talking about there?
Yeah, I think that's what's impressive to Chris. Like, I don't think he's ever seen people with 3 mustaches. Besides triplets.
I do my best. Wrestling. I'm not related to Eugene Levy. I know it's
God, I was about to make an American Pie joke.
I know he was. I
Good
saw it.
pull.
I saw it in the eyes, and anytime 3 eyebrows get said, that's coming my way.
Good pull, Austin. Good pull.
But the fan base of Ohio State. So obviously, if Ryan Day, let's just say he loses this game by a point, it's like a amazing game by both sides, and we just come out on top. Is he gone?
I think so. Now, he did have our new AD came out this week, and he sat down with a bunch of the local media, and he said his job is safe at this point, which is kind of the kiss of death in a lot of situations, right? But this is a newer AD. He came to us from Texas Tech, where they had famously actually done a similar thing. So, but I still think I think he's got to at least make a run here. He's got to win a couple of games. We've got a real gauntlet if we think we're going to win a national championship here, as would Tennessee in the same boat, as you guys know. But I think if you lose to Tennessee at home, I think that's the end of it for Ryan Day.
Are you worried about Tennessee's rushing attack with Dylan Sampson? Because, I mean, he is just – Dylan Sampson after contact is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that at all?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of overlooked in this whole thing is not only you guys can rush the ball, but that you guys can then control the ball. And I think that's a big part of what you guys do and what makes you successful. Defensively, we've been soft at times. We have a very good defense, but we have been susceptible to the run a little bit, and teams that can move the ball. And you guys certainly can do that. It'll be interesting to see because Jim Knowles has done a good job of scheming. He continues to roll, like I said, the number one defense out there. But if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's going to be Tennessee. And like I say, in these kind of conditions, I think running the ball is what you want to do on the field.
Sorry.
Oh, do you think y'all having Chip Kelly may help y'all prepare for us? Because I know like Big Ten, y'all don't really necessarily run up tempo compared to most.
I think having Chip Kelly probably helps you guys more than it does help us right now.
Well,
what I've seen, I mean, people are gotten pretty exhausted with Chip Kelly here. We got really excited about him coming to town, and now the lack of creativity in our play calling and really overall, it's turned a lot of people off.
So does he have y'all run up tempo this year?
Not a whole lot, no.
Really?
Pretty traditional. Traditional offense. We'll go up tempo a little bit, but not as a discipline.
He's really lost his shine, hasn't he? Compared to what he was when he was at Oregon.
Yeah.
Has anyone on Oregon's schedule so far ran like a really high tempo offense?
Boy, that'd be a good question. I don't know. Now, of course, Oregon can, but yeah. You don't see that as much in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, it's true. A lot of slow white guys up there. If I'm being honest, every time we play Iowa, it's kind of. Of course, that's mostly Iowa. I'll give it. Iowa's the king of that kind of. That's right. That's Big Ten stereotype. But
Iowa, Wisconsin will come in there too.
Yeah. That's a bit of the. I will say Ohio State's the one team in that conference though that has top level SEC talent. That's the one thing that honestly, the one thing that scares me so much of this matchup is that Michigan game happened, and the narrative has been this is not a good football team. You guys suck, and this is an incredibly talented team, and maybe they take that as motivation and just play out of their minds.
I firmly believe that if we're gonna beat you guys, you're gonna see the name Jeremiah Smith is gonna be all over. That's gonna be
and that's what scares me.
Remember that forever because he hasn't had that kind of a breakout. We expected it in the Michigan game, just didn't happen for whatever reason, the play calling, whatever. I look for him to have a big game. I really do. We're waiting for that huge breakout in a huge moment out of that guy.
And that's what
you got to watch for. And so we'll see with the elements, whether the elements are going to allow for it. If it does, Will Howard's on his game. you guys could be in some trouble there.
And that's exactly how we think about Nico.
Yeah.
Because Nico has shown flashes throughout the whole season of there's been plays where you're like, holy crap. And last game against Vandy, I know it was against Vandy, and Vandy's a whole lot better than they used to be, but they're still Vandy.
Yeah.
But Nico comes out there in a cold weather game.
Yeah.
It's 25 degrees out there, really cold, and he looks really good. I mean, he looked really poised, really good. All of his throws were right on point, hitting deep balls perfectly. And I feel like that was the game that he needed almost to say, okay, I'm seeing things now. So with that being said, Chris, and we're going to get you out of here because we're about to move on to Tennessee basketball. But 2 questions. Do you think Tennessee fans are going to invade Ohio like social media? It's like social media is saying.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
By the way, number one, kudos to you guys for doing that.
Yeah.
I understand that the code was so basic that everybody kind of got what the code was and was able to go on there and order tickets and kind of invade the shoe. So if that does come to pass, hey, kudos to you guys. I mean, that's very impressive. Good job. If you guys make the travel and make it all the way up here, I'm very impressed by the fan base for doing that. I hate to see it, obviously. But yeah, I mean, and you guys know big time football. The shoe, over 100,000 people there. And right now they're talking about maybe 30,000, 40,000 being Tennessee fans. That would be amazing.
That's hard to believe. That's very hard to believe.
It's very hard to believe. That's what we're talking about.
With y'all's fan base, I just don't see it.
There's still so many on the secondary market, though. You can log on StubHub and you can get a ticket for $250, and that's insane for a playoff game.
Yeah. So kudos to you guys. And like you said, the Ohio State fan base is in a weird spot right now after losing to Michigan. So people may have said, okay, maybe I'll watch this one at home. Because it turned off a lot of people, and maybe that gave an opportunity for more of the Vols fans to jump in there.
So you got go ahead.
Well, like I know for us as Tennessee fans, I mean, Rainey, Austin, like we've been invested fans. We've watched some terrible football. Like we had Butch Jones and Derek Dooley, and it's because of your boy Chris, the Haslams. Like they hired those coaches for us. And like I feel like we're more hungry because we've seen more adversity than y'all have in the last 15 years.
I mean, you think he has hate for the Haslams?
They're just going across the country right now.
They're cancer
things, right? They started Tennessee down there. They came up to Cleveland. Now you see what they've done with my Browns, and then they bought an interest in the Milwaukee Bucks, and now the Bucks have fallen off a little bit. Now the one thing that they have done. The soccer team in Columbus, the Columbus Crew, did win a couple of cups under him, have been doing very well. Not that anybody nationally really follows them, but that's the only real thing that the Haslams have done. So if you guys could just take the Haslams back to Tennessee, that would be fantastic. I'll become a Vols fan. I mean, I will do that tomorrow. If you could take the Haslams back, that would be great.
The irony is, though, when they bought the Browns, we started turning around in all of our athletics.
Yeah. Well, they were a little distracted trying to ruin.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what had to happen. Like they always made the decision for who we were going to hire, and I think when Shiano Sunday happened, that was kind of a breaking point with the Haslams. They just said, "All right, screw you guys," and all the rest of the donors kind of picked up for them, and that was a good decision.
Chris,
just like their decisions up here to get Deshaun Watson in. Oh.
Chris, were you aware? Because I know Shiano was at Ohio State. Were you aware of what was going on in Knoxville with the Shiano Sunday?
I had forgotten.
Like when we were revolting.
Yeah, that one's way back in the files. The Shiano man. What exactly did happen there?
Okay. So we fired Butch Jones.
This is right up Austin's alley.
Yeah, he's like I'm ready for
off track. I'm sorry.
Let me give you the life story on this. We fired Butch Jones. He sucked. I mean, he had a little uprising, and everyone hated him by the end of it. And we fired him. We went on a little crazy coaching search, and we thought the fan base wanted John Gruden, which at the time I think he was still doing Monday Night Football, and his wife went here. He was an assistant for 1 year when he was like 19 or something. It was kind of a pipe dream. I don't think it was ever realistically happen. Maybe like a little kind of, but not really.
He's a good state in Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio kid.
But once that kind of fizzled out, the idea was we were going to hire Dan Mullen, and we thought we kind of had Dan Mullen hired, and then we were going to announce it in a few days, and then out of nowhere, Dan Mullen takes the Florida job, so he's out the window. And the B option, which a lot of people didn't know, was Greg Schiano, and he, and you can say we're ignorant, we don't really know everything, but in the Sandusky trials with the Penn State, Greg Schiano was an assistant at Penn State at the time, and someone in those hearings said that Schiano saw what was happening and didn't do anything. And so we heard that, and when Schiano was announced to be the hire, like it hadn't been officially done yet, but things were kind of in progress for Schiano to be hired. We revolted. We painted the rock, said he was a rapist, which wasn't accurate. It's not accurate, but whatever. And it was bad. And him having a little common sense, I assume, just kind of said, I'm not taking this job. And that all.
I had totally forgotten about that. Thank you for refreshing that.
And a man that just got pepper sprayed on your field, Pat Forday and Dan Wolkin, when they defended Schiano and said how horrible our fans were, and it was a fun time. But it's the only time I can remember where the fan base truly stopped a coaching hire. And then we go and hire Jeremy Pruitt, and that didn't really do much. But we're in a good place now.
You got us to where we're at right now.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Not
God, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But Chris, dude, I really appreciate you joining us. I know you got to get out of here, but I want to ask you one more question before you leave.
Yes, sir. I'm right here. Let's go.
Give me your score.
Oh, give me the score.
Give me your score.
I'm going to say the Buckeyes win, and the Buckeyes are going to win 34-27. Book it. Right there.
7-24. I will
book be the most points we let up all year.
I will share this clip as soon as you're wrong. So
and there you go. I can't wait to hear the Vols. The Vols fans come after me for that one. I will tell you this as a parting thought. Since you guys haven't watched a whole lot of Ohio State football, if this thing comes down to the wire and it's close, we don't have a field goal kicker who's reliable. So that'll be a problem for us. Jaden Fielding missed twice in the Michigan game.
Remember that.
He misses during the big games. He has a penchant for kicking the ball out of bounds on regular kickoffs. So we have, needless to say, some inconsistencies at the kicking position. So if it gets close, boys, who knows? It's really a wild card there.
You say kicking it out of bounds. We have a little tendency in tight games to run out of bounds with zeros on the clock. So I hope we don't do that.
Chris, that was the one question I had left. Like, besides the kicking game, like, how do you feel about Ryan Day if it's a one-score game at the end of the fourth quarter? Like, are you confident? What's your confidence level?
No, I don't have any. I mean, listen. I am just so jaded by the fact that he's lost to Michigan 4 times in a row. I have zero confidence in the guy right now. He has to build that back up. So if it's a one-score game, I am just waiting for the other shoe to drop. If we're whatever. And even with Will Howard, haven't seen it consistently out of him. So right now, I'm like a lot of Buckeyes fans. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I already told you what I think the score is going to be. I still have confidence in my heart for the Buckeyes to pull this thing out at home. But in terms of confidence in Ryan Day, I don't have a whole lot.
Well, with that being said, I have a whole lot of confidence in our team. I think if it is a close game, that it's going to be – this team is really good at closing stuff out.
And that's what scares me.
They make plays. They make plays. They do something crazy to help them over the hill to get them to the victory. This team is so solid. And I've said it a million times, this team loves playing with one another, They love each other. Like that's the chemistry of this team is like I've never seen from a Tennessee team in the last 15 years. They all have each other's backs, and it's so fun to watch because when something
You're
bad
the nice guys. Now I got fake tough Ryan Day is going to come in and show you guys a thing or two. So watch out. You nice guys, you guys kumbaya over there in Tennessee. Everybody's holding the hands and we're playing football, having fun. This is just frenzies.
Yeah.
Ryan Day, tough guy.
Yeah,
Come in and show you guys what's up.
This is positive Randy right here. If we lose doing something like we did against Arkansas, I mean, just watch. Okay, we don't have a nice mode at that point. Okay, we're not nice to anyone else. We're nice to our team until they do something like that.
Oh yeah,
and it's all gone. The gloves are off.
If we lose, burn Knoxville.
Like yeah. It's gonna be like January 6th, like times 1,000.
Had to get in there, didn't you, DR?
I gotta get political. Hey, look, Chris had a great political tweet earlier. Okay, I'm telling you, that's on my Mount Rushmore tweets I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Hey, well, we can't wait till next year when Mike Vrabel leads y'all into the playoff.
Right? That's
in the battle.
That's what's funny is he was to talk for a while, both for Ohio State as well as for the Cleveland Browns. So he was either going to stay in Columbus or go up there and be the head coach. Right now he's a consultant right now with the Browns, but they were talking about making him the head coach at one point. So traveled.
If you want a guy like Urban Meyer, you said, well, we'll do anything to win. I mean, Vrabel is on record saying he would cut his dick off to win a Super Bowl. So
that's the kind of guy I want. Ryan Day, he ain't cutting anything off to win a Super Bowl or win a playoff game to win anything.
Well, it might not be much too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with all that just for men, if he cut it off, what would he get then?
That's shoe polish, man. He has moved on.
It looked like Hulk Hogan out there with his fake.
Who's he fooling with that, right?
He's like George Clooney, Brother Arthur. He's a Dapper Dan, man.
Great reference, by the way. Great movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Guys, I appreciate it. Good luck, but not too much good luck. Go Buckeyes.
All right, Chris, you're a good follow. You've got some great tweets. I think Austin could really he really needs to be more like you. You got good tweets and good references. So do your homework, Austin.
All over the place.
We'll send you off here, Chris.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Do your homework.
See you guys.
We'll send you off here, Chris. You said good luck. I don't wish any luck to you. So have a great time.
Burn in hell.
Rest in peace.
Gone, just like that. Gone.
He did a great job. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome.
Oh, and if you want to follow him on Twitter, I can't think of his @. Right now, but he's a great follow on Twitter. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's hilarious.
He's at at Reflog _18.
Yes, on your Twitter X, whatever you want to call it today.
Yes.
It'd be crazy.
Man, I enjoyed that, y'all. That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun. But let's transition here, guys. We got about 15 minutes left in this podcast. Let's talk about the basketball because that game last night was batshit crazy. That game.
Your number one Tennessee Volunteers went into Champaign, Illinois, and was down by as much as 8 and had to play against maybe the worst officiating crew I've seen in my life. And Jordan Gainey gives us 18 points in the second half and ends it with a layup buzzer beater. Beautiful night, man.
I can't believe we saw that of Jordan, dude. I cannot get over that. I've been so critical of him since he got here, and he played his butt off.
I've told me and Austin have had this conversation many times, and I've said that Jordan Gainey this season has completely changed the way he's played. He doesn't look. He's night and day from the first game of the season to right now. He's completely changed the way he plays. He's more aggressive. He's better on defense, like you said, Austin. Better on defense. So much better on defense. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I've already said it before. Like this team's going to win it all. Like I fully believe this team will win the whole thing, and I honestly believe that because you can look at the baseball team last year. It wasn't the greatest roster in the history of mankind. Like we had in basketball, we had the Grant Williams roster, which I believe is the greatest roster of all time. This roster right here just works. It glues, it gels together. And you haven't even seen a shell of what they are yet, in my opinion.
No, there's the ceiling on this team is insanely high. Like Igor is probably our second best player, but I don't know if you noticed this, but he couldn't shoot to save his life last night. I think he went
we
0 for
noticed.
8 and 3.
Oh my God.
And the game would have been over if he's just having a not so great night. If he's having a below average night, we win that game easy. But and that's with facing. I mean, they hacked the living hell out of us and had our half our starters out of this game. Zakai fouled out, Chaz fouled out. I mean, we were. I mean, we couldn't even play Akpara because anything he did was a foul for them. We had everything against us and somehow pulled this one out. It's almost insane. I've never, when you watch a game like that, you're out of your league, you're on the road in a tough environment, playing a good team, a team that's unranked, but is top 10 in damn near every stat, any Bartorovic, Kempom, everything. They're top 10, top 15. So that was a big win. I don't care what the top AP top 25 says. That was a big time environment. You went up against that team and had horrible officiating, had everything going against you, and had a target on your back as the number one team in the country. And somehow, you're playing on the coach's birthday, and you somehow pull that shit out. It's unreal. I mean, that is my that game for me. I came into it saying this: if we win this game, we will be a 1 seed. If we lose this game, we might be a 2 seed. But now that I feel like that we have that huge win, best start to the first 10-0 start since 2000. We have all that right there. I think this team will be the first 1 seed in Tennessee basketball history, and I do think this team will go to a Final Four because I don't see a team out there that really puts the fear of God in me. I mean, Auburn's really good, but outside of that, I think this team's the best.
No, 100%. You see like all these fan bases, like, well, who is Tennessee play? I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of Tennessee's played nobody. Listen, I get that you've played maybe a top 10 team. We beat the crap out of Baylor, which is a top 15 team when we played them in the Bahamas. And then we go on the road against Illinois, silent S, and
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, man. I was ready for the Illinois. I was ready for it, man. Every time he says Illinois, it's Illinois, and it's a little pet peeve I have with you. And I tweeted it out because I wanted to see growth here, man. I'm proud of you.
Well, yeah, it's a quad win one on the road. That's massive in tournament time. Like we said, like it's massive.
Well, and you had Meshack and Gainey step up, and that's the advantage to having veteran players, man. I don't feel like that environment bothered them at all. I mean, they've won in Rupp Arena, for God's sake.
Yeah, one in Alabama, one. And speaking about road matchups, though, and I think January 25th, this team will be facing number 2 Auburn, currently number 2 Auburn. And the way these teams are playing, that could be a 1 versus 2 matchup. First we've seen since Tennessee and Memphis in 08. Could you imagine that environment, man?
Especially like the history. Like it's a conference game, and you got Lord Bruce Pearl coming, or I guess we'd be going there, but
yeah,
Auburn scares me, man. They look good. They look really good against Ohio State.
They're damn good. That I feel like right now in college basketball, it could not be more clear that Tennessee, Auburn, those are the 2 best teams in the country. I mean, there's good teams outside of that, but I feel like no one else. Like, I feel like Tennessee, if we play anyone on a neutral court, I feel like we're winning about 80% of the time. But Auburn's the one team where I think it'd be about 50-50. I think it is clear this is number 1, this is number 2. And the reason why I'm so confident in this team making the Final Four the first time in school history is that I look around college basketball and I don't see anyone but Auburn that I think would maybe beat us on a neutral court most of the time. That's really my whole theory on it. Like last year, we lose that stupid game to Kentucky that after we won the SEC, and I feel like that bumped us down to a 2 seed, and that meant we had to get through a 1 seed to get to the Final Four. If we win that game, we would have been a 1 seed and would have been in Alabama's bracket and would have made the Final Four. But because we dropped that stupid game, which if we played any kind of with a brain, we would have won that. But that's last year's frustrations, and I think this team will have a clear path and should do it.
We got to get Carr healthy, and we got to get Akpara. He needs to get a new haircut because his haircut, he reminds me of Adu, and he plays like Adu right now. He's got to step up. I don't know what his deal is lately.
Yeah, Adu could occasionally make layups, so I'd say it's a little.
I'm talking about on defense.
Right
I'm talking about defense. That's why we got him, was come here and play defense. And man, that game last night, that was pathetic.
I'm happy with the win. I feel like I hardly remember him.
Well, yeah, of course you can critique your team. Like you can be happy about everything, but we're fans. You critique. It's fine. Like it's fine. But I agree with you, DR, because the first game of the season, Akpara, I'm watching Akpara, and I'm sitting there watching him like, this guy's a freaking monster, because he's like putting his shoulder into people, just backing into him, backing him up on defense. He's standing his ground. He's not moving at all. He's chest bumping the people. And I agree, man. I don't understand. Like, step up, man. You're huge. You're a big dude. And in the first couple games, watching in Thompson Bowling Arena, the first couple games, I'm like, holy crap, this guy's a different animal than Adu. But yes, the last couple weeks, it looks like Adu.
It's really tough that we lost Estrella. That is probably
that sucks.
He was gonna be so good this year. Thank God for Cade Phillips. So thank God he's something else, man. When it like gets going for him, man, he is one of the most fun to watch big men we've ever had here. I think that kid, and it's crazy. We have Estrella too, which like we'll have both of them next year unless one of them hits the portal, which I don't see happening because the staff loves both of them. And it's just going to be, man, this team could have really, I think this team will be great and is the best team in the country, but man, it could have even been better if Estrella was healthy. But then again, but I feel like the number one thing for this team right now is that you have something I didn't know you had in Gainey. I mean, you saw what he could be in flashes last season. You saw it, but then he played like crap the next game.
Crap the bed, yeah.
Yeah, miss everything and play crap. Defensively, that's his biggest. That's where I'm impressed the most. Like that kid was an absolute liability out there last season, and now he's damn near one of the best defenders in the team. I mean, I think he had like 3 blocks the other night against Syracuse. It felt like I'm really impressed with that kid.
Well, it's the thing that's impressive about this whole team is when people are having bad games, like Zakai had just awful game. Couldn't hit a free throw, couldn't hit anything, couldn't do anything right. When they're having bad games, people step up.
Yeah.
That's what gets you far in March. And people talk about the depth, about this team has no depth. Well, I disagree because you just saw the depth of the team in this game against Illinois. So
yeah. And is this the first season? I mean, I guess it is since 2000. We're going to actually go into SEC play with 0 losses on our record,
and we need it as tough as the conference is this year.
Good God Almighty! I think in the last few years, this conference has been the best in the country. Right now, it has never been even like anything like this. It is a landslide. I've never seen this actually in college basketball ever. I think like one conference so dominant over the rest of the sport. It's unreal. It just shows you we do it different down here. Everything, like if we get a little taste of success in any sport, in the SEC, we just have to go full bore and just make it our thing.
I know there was a stat out there like 15 of the 16 teams in the SEC, if you won on the road, that would be a quad 1 win. How insane is that? And like they're saying we could get up to 12 teams in the tournament.
It's insane. It really is. I mean, honestly, if I feel like they're unbiased, I feel like we could get 14. It's insane. Like 12, I feel like is like easy. And like people who I know hate the SEC kind of have to admit this, and it's so freaking funny. And
Oh, I hate the SEC myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Well,
dominant.
okay, I have this weird thing. It's like I hate every team in this league. I hate them except for Tennessee. I hate them all. I hate them with a passion. But at the same time, if any Big Ten fan like came up and said, "Oh, the SEC ain't crap," I'm like, shut up, man. This is a really tough deal here.
Do you remember like it was 2014, 15, and like SEC, people were making fun of us, like making fun of the conference. Like, this is such a weak conference. Like, it's a joke of a conference. I mean, I know you had Florida win in 06, 07 back to back, or was it 07, 08? Doesn't matter. But they won back to back in the 2000s. But besides that, it's just like SEC has been made fun of for being a weak conference. But now this conference is the stoutest conference in the country, and it used to be the ACC, and now that's kind of flipped. There's only a couple good teams in the ACC like that are dominant. Not really, actually, because I mean, I guess what's Duke and Carolina, North Carolina.
I mean, Carolina's actually not good this year. I mean,
I know.
So far. Okay, I shouldn't just say they're straight up not good. They've lost all but one of their big non-con games. We saw them go from as an 8 seed go to the national championship game, I think, a few years ago. So I'm not saying that's like set in stone that they're going to be bad. But the ACC as a whole is just a total train wreck.
Oh, they're trash.
Louisville is supposed to be. I mean, well, they're supposed to be pretty good this year, and they've not really answered the call. I mean, we beat the hell out of them on their home court.
But they did almost beat Kentucky. They almost beat Kentucky, man, last night.
So did Colgate. NC State. Kevin Keats went from being fired, 100% being fired, to them going on an insane run through the ACC and NCAA tournament and got himself a 2-year extension, which in a way I'd actually hate kind of as a NC State fan. Yeah, I love making the Final Four, but also I know this coach is not actually that good. He just got lucky. And Rainey, you're referencing how bad the SEC used to be at basketball. Okay, I want you to look at the 2011-12 Tennessee Volunteers. They finished 4th in the SEC. They finished 4th. Do you know where we were in the NCAA tournament? What seed we were?
Who was on that team?
Okay. This is Kwanzaa's first year. We finished 4th in the SEC. Actually, we didn't make the tournament. That's what happened. We finished
Christ.
4th in the conference, and we were in the NIT. That is how bad this conference used to be. If you're a 4th in this league now, you're assured, like, I think damn near a 3 seed. I mean, it's a
well, yeah. They were talking about we may get 3 1 seeds this year alone in the whole tournament.
Okay, we got a question from Jordan Taylor here. Are y'all more worried about Kentucky with Pope than you were with Cal?
Yeah, because I think Cal was burnt out.
I think Cal is the most outdated person in the history of basketball. That man would not adjust when literally everyone else had, and all he could bank on was landing high caliber talent, and that got them in the tournament, but also they choke like no other. So yeah, Mark Pope is better. I'll give him that. Like his stats on KenPom when he was at BYU were pretty solid, and I think he'll bring that to Kentucky. I don't think they'll win it.
What's not better though?
Or something.
What's not better is their defense. Their defense is trash.
Oh yeah,
Kentucky's defense is just trash. It's so bad. Yeah. Like it's what it reminds me of last year. Like under most Calipari teams, he asked the question: Are you worried about Kentucky open the Cal? But it's the same thing. You have great offense, but no defense.
Yeah, I don't know if that like comes with more time with Pope, but yeah, for right now, this team is not that elite on defense. I mean, it's not good. No. I mean, they're winning games 190.
Yeah, that's why you're talking about outdated. I would put Greg Popovich and probably Kentucky basketball up there with Cal. I think that's why Cal and Kentucky were perfect. I think they're both outdated.
Well, I think Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr too as well. Steve Kerr's getting outdated.
Well, here was the winning model for Calipari. He is an amazing recruiter in every way, shape, and form. But all he would do is like his strategy was, if I have better players, I'll win. But that wasn't necessarily working anymore because a really good 22-year-old player is better than a really good 18-year-old player. in modern college basketball. The portal
Which is why
changed
Barnes
everything.
is owning it.
NIL changed everything. I think Barnes has right now. Barnes did own him like when he was still ahead of the game and Calipari, and we were just beating him with older guys. But now I think Barnes even has a better niche than he used to have. Barnes has a new thing now where, like we did with Connect, where you find a really dominant player through the portal, bring him here, and he'll have an amazing season, just like we did with Connect, and that's what we're doing with Chaz. And I mean, life will be different next year without ZZ, but man, I just feel like he's really found a good niche, and it's just insane to me. Like this guy is right now changing and adapting to this game, and this man's been coaching since the mid '80s. I mean, it's insane. How old's Barnes? Like 73, and right now he's adapting better than like coaches 15 years younger than him, and it's just amazing.
He seems to be enjoying it too, unlike Roy Williams and Coach K. Like he really does seem to be enjoying it.
They said it right the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you see how they were mentioning something? They had like headlines in college basketball, and one of them was like Coach K gets acknowledged by Naismith, blah blah blah. I'm like, you get in there and make it about Coach K, guys.
It's like that meme. You can do it.
Yeah, it's like they have to just somehow shoehorn K into everything. I hate that old man.
It just reminds me of the night that the Memphis Grizzlies had the worst team in the NBA, and they beat the Kobe Bryant-led Lakers. But all they talked about was Kobe breaking some weird record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but the Grizz, who are the worst team in the world, just beat the Lakers. But you're just going to talk about that.
Oh.
He did have Stromile Swift attempting to lock him down, to his defense.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Memphis. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Memphis fan base right now.
Crime rate? My bad.
But a guy writes for, I think, a paper in Memphis. He tweeted out that, I know my fans won't like it, but Tennessee's the best team in the country right now and might win the national title. And the responses were, they have no rank wins. And someone mentioned how they don't have enough quad 1 wins. And I just responded, you realize in the last 5 years, Rick Barnes has taken 0 quad 3 losses. In the last 7 days, Penny Hardaway's taken 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's stupid because you're like, okay, we have one top 15 win and a quad 1 win in the last 9 games.
Yeah.
9 games. We have
3 on the whole resume. I mean,
so that debunks your whole argument.
It's just
that comment.
They're Memphis fans. They don't know any better.
I will say I've had this urge of late, especially watching them in Maui. I mean, I'll be honest, this team's actually pretty good they got right now. I mean, they didn't show up and lost to Arkansas State somehow at home. That's a quad 3 loss, but they did take out Clemson. They took out, I think, Michigan State and UConn. It's a pretty good team Penny has. And my God, I would love to beat them. I've been missing that rivalry more and more. And I get why Barnes doesn't want to play it anymore because Penny's a punk ass head coach, and we'll pull some crap and make us waste money and fake a fight or something. I don't like him as a person, and I get why Barnes will not schedule them. But also, I think that rivalry means a lot to this program and this state, and it would just be fun as hell to beat them and shut them up. And God, think about how fun that would be to like see him in the second round of the tournament. Send their asses home.
I would have a stroke waiting on that game. God, I couldn't handle that.
That would be freaking sick, man. Be freaking sick.
I don't know. Dude. Well, I would just settle for win the SEC, and I can't wait to play Auburn when they're number 1, or when we're number 1 and they're number 2. That environment would be absolutely off the wall.
What do y'all think? And I'm really interested in Austin's opinion on this about Florida's emergence. They're undefeated.
Well, when you got what's his name? When you got the Deshaun Watson of head coaches, it's easy to do, I guess. Now Walter Payton's a good player, and honestly, I think they're probably the 4th best team in this league, maybe 3rd. It's I mean, of course, this league is insanely tough when you talk about how the best teams in this league, you're literally talking about the best teams in college basketball, and you could maybe ignore everyone else but Duke. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, good thing too about Florida's coach, you never have to worry about him yelling hands up.
No. Yeah. Oh man, they're gonna fire him once the investigation's done. We all know it.
100%.
Yeah. It's just crazy. They have a good team. Man, Florida. I will say I never thought I'd see it over Tennessee so much better ran than like the University of Florida.
I know.
It's insane.
It's wild, man. We really have eclipsed y'all, but I mean, it goes back to athletic directors. Honestly, we got a great athletic director.
It's crazy, man. It's like, how do you?
He just slipped that in there. I heard y'all or your. I was like, yes, as I cheer from my Gator throne. Well, that's a lot of Tennessee orange. Every shirt I wear is Tennessee orange. I piss Tennessee orange, which the doctors say isn't really good, but I say go Vols.
That's called Dallas's, Austin.
Well, no, it's called bleeding orange. Well, pissing orange.
God, they're really dehydrated or got liver cancer. I don't know.
I don't have my DNA ain't DNA. It's actually VFL. That's what it is.
Look, guys, hey, I know we're wrapping it up, but look, this is the last time we're going to speak before the first ever Tennessee playoff game. So, what's our predictions? And Rainey, are we going to have to drag you up there?
He's not going.
I'm not going.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of a.
You know how many
Jim,
times...
I don't know. He might do it. I don't know, Jim. I don't like that call. God, I was listening to Tony Romo for fucking 2 hours. I want to blow my head off. I don't know, Jim. God,
you sound just like him too.
It's infuriating. I cannot do it. Not to go totally off topic. That man is insufferable. How he gets the best game every week is beyond me. It was fun for like 1 year. Now he's just like,
that is so good.
Oh, Jim, I see it. Oh, Jim. Oh, Jim. I think he might do it. Really no, he's not. No, he's not.
It's really funny because Austin, every time me and Austin talk, I will drag it out until the very end. I'm like, yeah, I'm going. He's like, can you not say yes from the very beginning? Like,
so you're going?
I don't know.
Screw this.
He's going.
Is he?
I do have another question. Buckeye Brown, who are you pulling for?
Buckeye Brown. Why would I be an Ohio State fan?
I don't know. Hey, they're Buckeyes. Your last name Brown. It's alliteration at this point.
I guess the Cleveland Browns. I was from I lived in Cleveland, Tennessee. Okay, I can see how you got there. Okay, but no, I actually
Cleveland Browns. That's what he calls it after he eats Mexican and uses the restroom. Taylor, look at my Cleveland Browns.
I took it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. What
Oh my God! Okay.
Last time I heard that joke, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
You seem mad right now, Austin Brown.
Okay.
That's a great joke, Grady. God.
You never heard that joke before?
I've heard it, but it's so funny because it's directed at you, and you're just so fun to joke about.
Yeah. Okay.
My glasses.
My Vols.
That's the forehead just got so hot, my glasses fogged up.
Austin, that is the best dad joke you could ever have. Like every time you go to the bathroom, like, look, I took the Browns to Super Bowl. Jimmy Haslam didn't do that.
What's the other one? Jimmy Haslam couldn't do that. Oh man. Oh, Jimmy Haslam.
Holy
I don't miss him.
I
met him one time. He was nice when I met him.
That's the most awesome statement ever. I'm not shocked you met Jimmy Haslam. So are we going to the Rose Bowl, y'all? Or are we just going to be focused on basketball next week?
I think that we have a 42% chance of winning. I think Tennessee. I'm 42% sure Tennessee's winning.
That's the dumbest percentage I've ever heard in my life. I just think that Tennessee. I've got a 43.5.277% chance of winning. I think Tennessee's going to go up there and beat them. I do.
I do too. That's why I'm going.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Okay. There's two sides to me right now. One side's like all the positive. I know.
I know. There's Buckeye Brown.
You got the joke.
Yeah. You guys ready to go for another hour? Here we go.
Okay, I got two sides of me. One side's all the positives and how Ohio State's been, and they played down to so many teams. But also, there's a side of me that's like, well, we don't usually win big games on the road and at night. And also, Ohio State's been told how terrible they are all week, and the last time this kind of scenario happened, they went and should have beat Georgia. So that's how I got 42%. I'm 42%.
But do you not think we're a different team? We're a different team than when we played Georgia.
You know what makes me more excited, Austin, with your weird ass random 42% out of nowhere.
Don't give me the 42.2.
40. What the fuck? Yeah.
Yes. I'll round up just for you.
It's Tennessee's been real quiet. They've been real quiet, and there's been a bunch of stuff around Ohio State. Tennessee's been real quiet.
Drama.
It's been real quiet.
Didn't Turrentine say it wasn't loud at Ohio State or something? But I guess.
Yeah, he did. That does concern me.
Yeah, don't do that.
That doesn't concern me.
He did play. He did play there for a year.
It does me because look what Eric Ainge did, dude, with Georgia in 22. That moron.
Yeah.
I just, dude, I don't think that that's even no one's thinking about that right now. Actually, absolutely no one right now. I played there. It wasn't as loud as SC. Okay, that's not going to make their crowd louder. I'm sorry, it's just not.
It might motivate their team though. That's all I can say.
No, it's not. It's so stupid. It's not going to motivate their play calling. Oh, you remember?
No, I was talking about the individual players.
They're going for a Hail Mary.
All verticals. Remember what Turrentine said? All verts, baby.
Verticals. Turrentine. Verticals.
Coach, it's 3rd and 1. I don't give a damn.
Not.
The hell with Turrentine.
Ryan Day takes the littlest stuff and makes it about like he has that Butch Jones in him.
Why they lose?
Could be
big games.
I will say that is a big part of me right there. It's like he will find a way to lose this game and have their entire fan base with pitchforks outside the window. I mean, they only played. I guess they played 3 games against teams of our caliber: Penn State, Michigan, and they're not Michigan. Penn State and Oregon, and
Indiana.
Yeah, but I think with Indiana though that I have a trouble like saying, oh, that's a big win. Indiana, like their talent. Like their roster talent, it's like 50th in the nation. It's not SEC caliber. Like
that's
Vandy technically has a more talented roster than Indiana.
Well,
they're good, but still, I feel like we could just line up and we just suffocate them with defense and run up the middle on them.
I would like to compare their talent level to Arkansas's.
Arkansas is I think 25th in the nation.
And okay, I mean, if that's true, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, then they got twice the talent. So,
I mean, that's what that's my biggest argument with SEC versus Big Ten. Yeah, okay, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, I guess now USC and Oregon. Those teams will get talent that is comparable to the talent we get in the Southeastern Conference. But once you go past that, it's a big old dip, and then you have the top teams in our conference, but the thing about it is like the South Carolinas, the Auburns, the Ole Miss, the even the Missouris to a lesser extent, and Arkansas, and you don't really get a break. I mean, Mississippi State and Vandy are the 2 worst rosters year in year out. But if they put them in the Big Ten, they'd be like top 7, which is crazy because like 7 in our conference is an absolutely it's like a top 15 roster. So that's always been my biggest argument of why it's different in the Big Ten than the SEC is like. And a big thing is like they're like, oh well, part of the reason we get the most talent in the SEC is like, well, we care more and we want it more. Winning at football is more important to us. Another reason is most of the talent's located down here, and players can stay close to home. I mean, it's not a coincidence that like 2 of the times the SEC, a team not from the SEC, won the championship, it was Clemson or Florida State. I mean, it's a big reason. I mean, most of the talent's located in the Southeast. That's why this sport's a little regional.
Well, I'm really curious to see how this plays out. So I think this playoff's going to be freaking just nuts. I think it's going to be crazy. Like, absolutely insane.
It's going to be like Logan's Roadhouse, nuts everywhere.
Yeah, nuts. Buckeyes everywhere. Nut! That's their mascot. It's a nut. That's a nut. But anyway, guys.
I see what you're doing. Putting that on the board.
We'll do it again.
What we're doing at this point.
Well, me either. So that's
we're doing score predictions.
That's what we're gonna.
God, I don't know about score prediction.
I'm not predicting anything. Let's just watch the game and we will talk about it because
I think we win. That's my prediction.
I think
27-23 Tennessee.
Okay.
Even though even though I just said earlier I'm 42% confident Tennessee's winning.
Yeah, that's why I was asking who you're pulling for.
Yeah.
I just love doing weird stuff to piss off Rainey. It's so funny. You could say like, I like syrup on my toast or something. He just pisses him off. It's so beautiful. I do it. It's a little bit of trolling I do on you.
Yeah. You like brown on your Buckeyes. I get it. So
Austin parlays.
I've never seen a Buckeye. Have you seen a Buckeye before?
Yeah, it's a nut.
It's a nut.
Well,
it's a nut, Austin.
Well, yeah, that's something he don't know much about. But also, like at Cracker Barrel, they have those Buckeyes. It's chocolate covered peanut butter is really good.
That's what that is.
Oh. Yeah, that's what the dessert is.
Sorry.
Wait, is a Buckeye a certain kind of nut, or is it like a thing you do with a nut?
Okay, good.
That's a good way to end it. Then it got awkward.
Listen, Jimbo.
Austin, parlays. You better be there, or I'm going to expose the rest of those DMs about Florida.
Parlays don't go well for me, but I'll be there.
Meet us at parlays. I'll buy you a water.
Oh, thank you. Those are free, but
Buckeyes. All right. Anyways,
I can't believe he said
God
that.
Almighty. What a way to end the podcast. God, that's going to be great, cropped out and put all over the internet.
What'd I say?
You'll see. Don't worry. You'll see. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It was about
another day in the life.
1 minute, 17 seconds of the podcast. We're good.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said sex. 17. I meant Buckeyes, but nut. And
sex. Now that I have your attention.
Sex. Okay, but anyways, guys, we'll do it again next week. What a way to end the
podcast. Great
I love
podcast.
It. This is one of my favorite ones. This is awesome.
Me too.
But stick with me after we get off here.
Okay.
But anyways, guys, it's been a blast. It's been fun. We'll do it again. God, what a freaking ending, yo.
Birds in the basement.